what you want. And Jigsaw is another way to get students really focused on a topic so that they can then teach it to someone else. But in terms of, as I'm saying, it's the crown jewel, these kind of other activities sort of build up. This is one of the most complex. So again, this would take several days. This wouldn't be something you could do all in one day, this Jigsaw activity. And here you see that you usually appoint one student from each group as the leader of the Jigsaw. So again, this would be one area where you as a teacher should select someone, especially at first, when you're getting to know the students, it's great to do. After a while, you could just ask for volunteers for the leader. But it's very complex, so it's certain, a few slides I have. One of the things you want to do is make sure that what you're talking about, the topic has 3 to 6 segments. So if you have 4 groups, for example, you want to make sure that the topic has 4 different parts to it, because you're going to give each group one part. And so you want to give them a segment, making sure that they have direct access only to that segment, that you can kind of finesse a little bit. So for example, I'm going to be giving you all, this is not in your stuff, so I had to make just handout. I'm going to give you all a sheet. It has 5 different segments. You're going to be in 5 different groups, okay? So, and the direct access means if you were a teacher, you would only give segment 1 to group 1, only segment 2 to group 2, only segment 3 to group 3. I'm going to give you all of them. But as a teacher, you might want to cover that up because you want the students in that particular group to really learn the material well. And this would be called the expert group. So Jigsaw has 2 groupings. One is the Jigsaw group that has the leader. The other is the expert group. And so you give students time to read over their segment so they become familiar with it. They don't have to memorize it, but you want them to talk in their expert group so that they get familiar with the content, familiar enough to teach it back in their Jigsaw group. And so those are the temporary expert groups. And then you give the students enough time to not only read it, but to discuss the main points that they're going to make in their Jigsaw groups. Then the students come back to the Jigsaw group. That's the one with the leader. And each student presents his or her segment to the entire group. So so we'll do it because it's really kind of convoluted up here, but you'll see how it works. Again, as a teacher, you're going to float from group to group, observing the process. And at the end of the session, you can give a quiz or some kind of test on the material again, so students realize you're not just doing this for fun. You really want them to learn the material. Okay, so in general, Jigsaw, 2 groups. The leader is the leader of the Jigsaw group. Then there's an expert group. The expert group is where the students are going to get the reading that you're given, and they're going to learn the material. And then that student is going to come back to the Jigsaw group and explain it to the rest of those members, because those members won't have read the same exact thing that the student has read. So you'll understand it. You'll understand it. It's a lot, but you'll understand it. Okay, so what we're going to do is use the Jigsaw to develop a deeper understanding of the 5 critical elements of cooperative learning. And I showed you a slide earlier and said you would come back to them. That's what we're doing in Jigsaw. They were developed by Dr. Carl Smith. So here are the leaders. This is for your Jigsaw group, okay? Jigsaw group leader A is Alshima. Jigsaw group B leader. Could you say your name? Wang Xiaona. Jigsaw group leader C. Jigsaw group leader D leader is Kamel. And Jigsaw group E leader
Heba.
Okay. All right, so you all are the leaders. As the leaders, you don't really have to do anything but collect your group together from the expert groups, and I'll explain how you're going to do that. Okay, again, we're going to do the random counting. We're going to start in a different place so that hopefully you get a number. This is going to be your expert group, okay? So the number 1s, if you end up with a 1, you're going to do positive interdependence. You're going to read on here just positive interdependence and talk about that with the other number 1s in your group. Come away with a little summary of positive interdependence, because you're then going to take that to the Jigsaw group that you're in and teach the rest of the people that particular piece. Okay, kind of understand? Same thing with number 2. If you're number 2, on here you'll see face-to-face interaction. There's a little section here In your expert group, you're gonna talk about face-to-face interaction. Think of a couple ways to summarize it, a few sentences at the most, because you're gonna go to your Jigsaw group, teach them that. Okay, so you're gonna be the only one in your Jigsaw group with these leaders. You're gonna be the only one that knows about face-to-face interaction. So that's why you need to summarize what's here in a couple of sentences, so you can teach the rest of your group. Okay, and so on. So you're gonna read your part of the handout in your expert group. That's not where we need the leaders right now. This is just gonna be the count off random numbers. We're gonna discuss the content and summarize it in 2 to 3 sentences, and then practice the summary. Talk a little bit about how you would summarize it in your expert group. Okay? All right, so let's count off. Let's start from the back.
Yes.
When we start with you, you're going to be number 1. We're going to snake over here to this table, come on up to Kamal's table, and end with Mohammed's table again. Okay?
Okay. 1, 2,
3, 4. 4.
Okay, again.
4. Bring 4.
Excuse. Can we do it again?
Yeah, start over
Okay.
again. Yes.
1, 1,
2.
3.
3.
Right. Okay.
4.
5.
1.
Yeah. Yeah. 1. That's right.
Me too.
2. Yeah. 2. 32. 2. 3. 4.
3, 4, 1. Cool.
Okay. Once you have your number and your paper, this is where you're going to go. If you're number 1, you'll be up here at this table. Number 2s will be over here at Camilla's table. Number 3 back here. Jen's table. Number 4, Heba's table. Number 5, Mohammed's table. Okay? Once you get your handout, though. Make sure you have your handout.
Heba. 4.
It's number 4.
Make sure you have your handout.
Yeah. Please.
Here is one more.
Who is the leader?
Leader?
There's no leader for
No.
this part. All you need to do is read your
4.
section.
Who's leader?
There's no leader for this part. There's no leader for this expert
Oh.
group part. All you need to do in your group is read your part. If you're number 1, for example, where are my number 1s? Okay, you're just going to read positive interdependence. You're going to summarize, talk about that in your group, come up with a summary. That's all you're going to do. No silly skills.
مش فاهم.
Just 1 or 2 sentences. Yeah.